Hello. Whew. I said I was going to do it. And now I'm finally doing it. La 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 la. Hi, my name is China Rose, and welcome to my little YouTube page or whatever. Um, I don't really know how to start this or where to start this. I just really like talking about music and all things music. So I'm a student as well, so I'm just going to be doing what I can to balance everything. Sorry if I'm talking really low because I'm in the library. I'm in the library because why not? It's a great day outside and just enjoying the ambiance. But yeah, what did I want to talk about today? So today I wanted to talk about Mavi's song "Drunk Prayer." So Mavi released an album back in June called Shadowbox. I think it's a great album for 2024. It talks about a lot of a lot of heavy topics, along with accompanying him staying true to himself and him um, realizing further deepening his relationship with religion and God. And a lot of the songs stood out to me within that album because it's about how your shadow is a part of you, hence the name like Shadowbox. And he would have various conversations throughout the album with different like narratives and shit and different conversations with different people that I'm assuming are his friends. And the song I'm going to talk about today actually is called Drunk Prayer. And I wanted to talk about Drunk Prayer because one, I think it's a beautiful, beautiful song. And two, why I find it so relatable as a college student having like mental health struggles and coping with a dash of like religious trauma, I guess. So, where do I want to start? We can start with like look at my laptop because bitch, I have it written down. So, let's start off with the visuals, right? Let's break down the visuals. I'm not gonna go too in depth because I'm sorry if I keep looking off. I keep getting distracted, but I didn't want to go too in depth with the visuals because they really speak for themselves, and I've literally been frying my brain with school. But the music video for Drunk Prayer, it takes place in a church in a really like neighborhood type of church. Mainly like it reminds me of like a Baptist church. And the opening scene is Mavi throwing up in the church bathroom. And that really resonated with me. That really I feel like it resonated with me a lot because when you're at your weakest moments and you're somewhere safe, well, claim to be safe, church that's debatable, but if that's your safe space, he's being his most vulnerable, feeling sick, and you're on your hands and knees at the toilet, which is also like synonymous with prayer and whatnot. And throughout the video, he's just in this church and the spotlight's on him, singling him out, shining on him. And I'm guessing it's like a reflection of his relationship with God and how he feels like he needs to be saved in that very moment. And essentially, what drunk prayer is a cry for help. It's a cry for help in the form of a prayer, drunk prayer. And I think a lot of the song talks about how he's struggling to cope with whatever he has going on, feeling like he's losing a part of himself and turning to drinking when he feels like he's at his wits' end and he's crying out to God. He's crying out, "Oh my God, my Lord and Savior." So, yeah, that's some of the visuals, but I'm going to talk about some of the lyrics too that really like stood with me. Well, the whole song really stood with me, but um The whole first verse, they're looking through me, you don't see me. I thought I made it out the sea, but I was dreaming. Ursa Major was a ladle, come and scoop me. Now, with those first couple sentences in the stanza, I feel like this is the start of feeling like he's trying. He's reaching out for help and he's not being seen, he's not being listened to, he's being overlooked. And I feel like we've all been there when there has been a cry for help. Oh my gosh. Sorry. When there has been a cry for help, essentially, and we feel like we've been ignored or we felt like nobody was listening. And I thought I made it out to sea, but I was dreaming. I'm pretty sure that's talking about how he thought he had escaped a certain darkness or a certain void that he was once in, whether it be like a slump or escaping like a traumatic event, when overall he didn't make it far. Or like, yeah, you walked up the mile, but now you got the rest of the hill to go. You got the rest of the mountain to go. And it's scary living in a reality where you feel like you've accomplished, you've overcame such a big hill, whether it's like most of the time it's traumatic. Or like you've gone to therapy and you've gone to get help, you've taken the medication, you're like, oh my gosh, this is great. Only for an even bigger challenge to come into wear and tear on your mind and your body and your soul. It's very tiring. Um, I wanted to skip down a little bit. I tried my best, repeated yells was all I mustered. Performed surgery on myself with just a cudgel. I'm more certain about my death than my construction. Now, I'm gonna stop there. Let's break that down. I tried my best, repeated yells was all I mustered. It's the constant theme and the constant repetitiveness of yelling and screaming and crying for help. Because essentially that's what a prayer is. Essentially that's what it is. It's taking the bowels and the deepness of your sorrows and your troubles and you're just letting it out and you're on your hands and knees and you're just like, dear God, please help me. And I think that's exactly what he wants to portray. My favorite line: perform surgery on myself with just a cudgel. Now, I had to look up what a cudgel was. It's something like you have to, like, I think, stick into yourself. I could be wrong. I have to double check on that. But perform surgery on myself. Now, I feel like I relate to that a lot because sometimes I feel like you want change within yourself. And sometimes it gets to a point where you want it so bad that you want to gut your insides. You want to gut and you want to be refreshed. It sounds crazy, but you want to be refined and you want to start over so bad. It causes like a physical toll and you want to just rip it out and you just want to claw at yourself. But it still is not enough, and that will never take away the pain that you feel in that very moment. And I think throughout the rest of the stanza, when he talks about the guiding sun for my little brother, my combustion, I'm a robot for the media, show bones, I'm off preening. I've roped off when you see me, choked off in the scenery, post op, I'm prolonging my lease again. That's when he's also going back and referring to cut myself open because post op, you have to take time to heal and it's not usually a pretty process, but he's taking this post op, he's prolonging his lease, he's prolonging his release, he's prolonging getting better. He made the incision, he made the cut, and now it's time to heal. But as a self sabotage, he's prolonging that. Big brain, big brain. Um, my phone is off. Won't hold regards for reaches in. Doesn't really want to talk to anybody. Rightfully so, because that's a lot, you know. And sometimes we succumb to ourselves so much that we don't want to let anyone else in, that we feel like with being the only option is to be a prisoner of your own mind and thoughts. And I feel like a lot of people do not understand that, or they haven't gotten to that point yet. You will, but it's a crazy place of no return. Well, not no return, but like it's a crazy, crazy place to be at. And to one day get yourself out of to get better. And then the bridge. The bridge is kind of what got me too, because this is one of my crying songs. I drank till I can't feel it. At least I think, because I don't remember shit. And the bridge, I definitely think he's talking about turning to alcohol. Clearly, turning to alcohol and drinking to nurse the problems, and turning to substances and turning to certain drug abuses. Excuse me. Um, Turning to certain unhealthy coping mechanisms as a way to nurse the problems that are occurring within his life. But within reach, it's causing something to form and bubble. And you can only suppress shit but for so long. But this also fits in the theme with Shadowbox in general, as this was one of his shadows, alcoholism or substance abuse of any kind, because I think this is relatable to anybody who's ever dealt with or struggled with any type of like substance, or turning to something as an unhealthy coping mechanism. It doesn't necessarily have to be substances. It could be food, it could be sex, it could be isolation. You can anything too much of anything can be terrible. But yeah, that entire bridge is this him repeating that over and over again. And it sounds like the chorus of a gospel song, like one of those really slow gospel songs. And I think he conveyed that because it's a prayer and also very hymn like the hymns that niggas read in like Catholic churches and shit. So he says it repeatedly, like either I think it's synonymous with a hymn or like a prayer, and drunk prayer. This is his prayer. And then because the song is relatively short, and at the end of the song, he's saying, "Oh my God, my Lord and Savior, I know that I'm blessed and I'm touched. Put all this pain in my cup. I swear I'm done feeling." And then it beautifully outros. And he's saying this as he's saying, "Put all of my pain in this cup and let it go away." Right? I think that the purpose of this outro is to show that he feels like this is the only way out. This accompanied with the visuals of like being in church and him being around of heavy religion, not heavy religion, but a lot of like religious influences growing up. Or yeah, it seems like he's been like in and out of churches and he's had his fair share of being in the church. And I think this is his relationship with God. It's further showing that he's at his wits' end. And this is his cry. But putting this in a cup would solve all the problems. Temporarily. At least for the time being. But this is something you can't escape. So that's just an brief overview of the song, right? Now, I wanted to talk about how I relate to the song a lot because I have like mental health issues, right? And I find myself in the same position, turning to a lot of the times, well, most of the times, alcohol as a way to cope with my stress, as a way to cope with not feeling enough, or as a way to cope with like episodes, or as a way to cope with shit that I am not ready to head on. And listening to this song, it made me feel very heard and very seen, in that it's okay to feel helpless at times. Not every emotion has to be productive. You don't have to rationalize everything. Pain is pain and suffering is suffering, and that's something we all have to endure and go through. It's just all about the outcome and what you plan to do with it. Many people use it as art, or many people just move on without their lives and use it as some sort of passion or drive for their career field. But with this, I I felt it so, so deep in my spirit, in my soul. Because I've been there. I've been like pleading on my hands and knees, asking for help, drunk, high, sick, crying before like traumatic events happened or after they occurred. And it feels like such a great way to release. That's also how I felt when I got a chance to see him back in September with a few friends. And I think being there and seeing him perform this live, I cried like a baby. I can't lie. I cried like a baby in the damn Howard Theater. But it was such a healing experience. And I think he knew exactly what the song was meant to be and who it was meant to touch. But yeah, that's pretty much it. What's your favorite song off of Shadowbox? Surprise.